You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. So many great content options out there on YouTube as far as Eagles content. So many talented Eagles content creators out there. I believe I'm one of them. That's why I'm always so appreciative that you decide to hang out here with us. Coming up on the show, we're going to look at Field Yates and Mel Kiper's combined 3-round mock draft to see who the ESPN NFL draft experts have Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles taking in the upcoming 2024 NFL Draft. Before we take a look at those prospects, if you're hype, if you're excited for the upcoming draft, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video, go Birds, EAGLES. Let's take a look at the Eagles 2024 NFL Draft picks, and for this 3-round mock for Field Yates and Mel Kiper, the Eagles do not have a 3rd-round selection, but of note, they have 3 picks inside the top 53. So Mel Kiper, Field Yates taking 3 players for Philadelphia. Those selections, round 1, pick 22, round 2 at 50, round 2 a couple of picks later at 53rd overall, and there you see the rest of the picks for Howie Roseman and this front office. Let's get it underway, and let's get it ramped up with the Eagles selection in the 1st round, 22nd overall. And it's Field Yates who makes the selection, and the Eagles stand pat here. They don't move up. They don't trade back, and they go with a very intriguing developmental right tackle in Amarius Mims out of Georgia. Here's the write-up from Field Yates and the explanation behind the pick, and we'll give you our scouting report and some thoughts on it here. Lane Johnson will be turning 34 years old, so Philly might be motivated to add depth at the position, something it did in advance of Jason Kelce's retirement too. Mims had just 803 career snaps under his belt, but exhibits all-world physical tools, and learning from legendary offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland would be great for him. I completely agree with that. If you're going to take a chance on a prospect like Amarius Mims, who has 8 starts, just over 800 career snaps, you want to have an offensive line coach like Jeff Stoutland who's going to be able to get him under his watch, under his tutelage, develop him, and you're going to have to live with some rough moments in the early going. You're going to have to deal with some rough patches. But on Tuesday, Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni held a pre-draft press conference, and one of the big takeaways from that, they're completely fine with taking a player who does not play this year in order to develop them down the road because Philadelphia's roster doesn't have a lot of holes. Mims has freakish ability. He has loads of talent, and this would be a very fun and developmental project for Jeff Stoutland. When I scout him, and you look at his background, Amarius Mims, a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. He's actually the #1 overall player in the state of Georgia. Just that great size at 6'7", 340 pounds. His arm length is unbelievable for an offensive tackle. 36 and an 1/8-inch arms. That's crazy. And at 340 pounds, he ran a 5.07 40-yard dash. Unfortunately, at the NFL Scouting Combine when we were there, we only saw him run once because he pulled his hamstring. Minimal bad weight. When I saw him at the Combine, he's not pudgy. He's not thick by any means. He's just a big, freakish dude who's very, very tall, but has a really good muscular frame, kind of in the mold of a Lane Johnson. He's powerful, athletic, mobile, very comfortable in space. Eagles like to get their offensive linemen out in space. We've seen the legendary clips of Jordan Mailata and Jason Kelce, Lane Johnson, pancaking cats downfield. The worries here, 8 career starts, and sometimes Amarius Mims at 6'7", 340 can play upright at times so he can get uprooted by strong edge rushers who have a lot of leverage. If you pair him with Jeff Stoutland, the sky could be the limit for him. And he doesn't have to play in 2024. You have Lane Johnson at right tackle. You could roll with Tyler Steen at right guard, Cam Jurgens at center, but you use this year as a year to groom this young player. Be sure to subscribe to us here on Eagles Now for more draft coverage in the lead up to the draft coming up on April 25th, but also on draft night, we will be live for every pick, every day, all 7 rounds, talking about every single prospect. Can't wait for it. Go Birds. Lock us in and hit that subscribe button. More to get to here on the show around the corner, but first, today's Eagles Now is sponsored by Prize Picks, America's favorite America's #1 and America's largest independently run daily fantasy sports app. And they have the best deal that any DFS app has to offer. $100 deposit match if you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. PrizePicks, more than any other DFS app, makes daily fantasy sports made easy, where you pick 2 or more players and you choose more or less on their projected stat totals. Let's take a look at some Eagles futures here. Get ahead of the game with us. A.J. Brown for the 2024 season, ladies and gentlemen. More than 7.5 receiving touchdowns? I'm all about that, boss. Jalen Hurts, more than 3,675.5 passing yards. He could be a 4,000 guy in Kellen Moore's offense with these weapons. Saquon Barkley, more than 1,055 rushing yards. We like the more there because with Saquon, I think he could have 2,000 all-purpose yards if he stays healthy. And then Derrick Henry, more than 10.5 rushing touchdowns. You put him with Lamar Jackson, you use him as a goal line threat, he's going to run it into pay dirt a lot this year. Win big money, withdraw your winnings, all within the PrizePicks app. Pick more, pick less. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. That link is hanging out down in the comment section and in the description of this video. Now let's go to round 2 for Philadelphia. 2 picks here, 50 and 53. 50th overall pick. It's Field Yates making the selection once again with some insight, of course, from Mel Kiper throughout this mock draft as well. And the Eagles are selecting Rutgers cornerback Max Melton. Here's what Yates had to say about the New Jersey product. Didn't grow up far away from Philadelphia, but did grow up a Niner fan. I asked him that at the NFL Scouting Combine. Yates, the Eagles need to get faster on defense and add cornerback depth, both of which Melton would assist with in a major way. He's a 4-year starter with excellent ball skills. I like Melton's athleticism. I like his ball skills. Making plays on the football, I think, is so important to have as a cornerback in this league. I also like his ability to play inside-outside. He can play inside right now, and then in the future, as Darius Slay gets older, as James Bradbury gets older, and he might be cooked altogether, you can move Max Melton out to the outside when he's ready. Stands at 5'11", $187. NFL Combine, he surprised me by running a 4.39 40-yard dash. So he clearly has that straight line speed to stick with some burners at the wide receiver spot. He's just really an explosive athlete. I also like his experience. 40 starts in 4 years. I think that he could be a plug-and-play guy right from the jump. 30 pass breakups in 3 seasons, so easy math, that's an average of 10 per year. That backs up the consensus of him being a guy who has ball skills. That inside-outside versatility, as I mentioned, he's physical, he's tough, has a dog mentality. He was rocking a dope chain at the NFL Scouting Combine, so he's got a little swagger. He could play right away. He gives you special teams impact, too. He had 4 punt blocks throughout his career. He had 3 blocked kicks in 2022 alone, which led the nation. His weakness, he sometimes can get handsy. That can lead to some penalties. And a few years ago, he was arrested for a paintball incident and something that he did apologize for, in which I think he shot at like 3 people or something along those lines. But hey, we all make mistakes, and we've all been young and dumb at some point. Second round, 53rd overall. Telling you what, Field Yates, Mel Kiper crushing this mock. This is Mel Kiper's selection here. Philadelphia Eagles selecting a favorite of mine, Texas A&M linebacker Edgerrin Cooper. Hold me back, fam. Hold me back, fam. I really like the outcome of this mock. Amarius Mims, perennial all-pro talent. Max Melton, really good corner with good ball skills, very experienced, can play inside right from the jump, outside in the future. And then you get your linebacker in round 2 in Edgerrin Cooper, who has freak ability. Here's what Mel Kiper had to say about Coop. Can you imagine those chants in South Philly ringing out at Lincoln Financial Field? Cooper might have been a first-round pick if he was drafted 10 years earlier. Teams just don't value off-ball linebackers these days, which I think is wrong, by the way. But he is my top-ranked player at the position. The Philly defense fell apart last year, and it has to get younger. They definitely have to get younger. And I disagree that teams like the Eagles don't value off-ball linebackers. How many of these teams are running crossers? How many of these teams are running tight ends down the seam, down the numbers, when you need quality off-ball linebackers? How many times last year did teams target the middle area of the field because they knew that the Eagles were really thin there and it was a weakness there? All the time. Now you have Devin White, Edger, and Cooper, and the speed at the linebacker spot, the possibilities there with them wrecking the game from sideline to sideline. That's juicy stuff. Scouting report on Edger and Cooper. Tall, 6'2", 230. I think he can build on that frame. Has speed, 4.5 40-yard dash, 34-inch arms, 80 inches on top of that, and a quarter wingspan. Great closing speed. He can really, really run well. He is rangy, covers good ground. That's what you need to do against slot wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs on those wheel routes. 30.5 TFLs the last 3 years. So about an average of 10 per year. That's just a really good number at the college level. He did break out in 2023 with the career high, 8 sacks, and all of his sacks in his career coming in 2023. So you can use him as a blitzer in addition to a coverage linebacker. The weaknesses here, he can be late to recover. Sometimes he gets over-aggressive and he over-commits. He might be a special teamer to start, but a 3-down backer a little bit later. Vic Fangio has coached up the linebacker spot. He's developed the linebacker spot. I think he brings the best out of Devin White. I think he can do the same with Edger and Cooper. So grade the Kiper Yates mock. A, B, C, D, or F. I'm going to give this one an A. I really like the thought process here and the players that they selected. You let me know your thoughts in the comment section.